Hi everyone, this is Chris, this is Pipe Man Now, and I'm doing back here with another tobacco review, a little talk about Sherlock Holmes and mystery pipe. So kick back, have a briar, have a drink, if you are legal of course, and enjoy. First of all, I want to give a couple of shouts out to two new friends I've made on here. I've got a lot of great friends on here, and I appreciate everybody who's watched and made comments. It's really great. Tim, the mystery pipe. I like your first video, dude. I like the idea of you doing mysteries at the end there. It sounded really cool. Anyway, it was great talking to you on Skype, bro. And Thomas, Mr. Pipe for me. By the way, both these guys are on my subscribers list if you want to look for them. Tim, the poor college guy who had to super glue a pipe to keep it together. I was glad to send you the pipes I don't smoke anymore and the tobacco. I'm just glad it was given to someone who really enjoys it, bro. Anyway, glad you liked it. So the tobacco I'm going to be reviewing today is actually McClelland's 221 Baker Series Street, their Black Shack. It's their inspiration, I should say, to Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes kept it in the toe of a Persian slipper nailed to the mantelpiece. It was dry and strong, kept at what we today have deduced to be proper smoky moisture and smoked gently. This excellent stoved shag will provide hours of smoking pleasure. And I tried it well last night and I liked it a lot. The shag looks like this, almost looks like cigarette tobacco, and they kept this pretty dry in tradition of Holmes. So back to Sherlock Holmes. You know, the movie is out, been a big success. I admit I haven't seen it yet, but there are a few things I wanted to say about Sherlock Holmes that some people may or may not know. And if I'm going to talk Sherlock Holmes, let's see, I think I'm going to need the proper special effects. So let's see what I can drum up now. Okay, much better. My cat Gandalf is talking at me for some reason. So, this effect won't be here the whole video, but I just thought it went with the ambiance. So, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle wrote 56 short stories on Sherlock Holmes and 4 novels from 1886 to 1927. One of his biggest inspirations was written by Edgar Allan Poe, who actually created the first fictional detective, C. Auguste Dupin. Conan Doyle wrote A Study in Scarlet and really kind of expected that to be the end of it. But I guess through talking to his publisher, through the magazine where these stories were published monthly, he decided to write more. Doyle was never in love with Sherlock Holmes. Matter of fact, he killed him off in one of his stories. And the outrage from readers was so much that he, in fact, had to bring him back. The music you're listening to actually is not from the movie soundtrack. It's actually from the soundtrack of the BBC series that went from the mid-80s to the early 90s, starring Jeremy Brett, who I think is just the epitome of Sherlock Holmes, the best Sherlock Holmes ever. Another interesting thing is Conan Doyle actually wanted to call him Sherringford Holmes at first, but he changed that. And a lot of this information I'm getting, I have 2 collections of Sherlock Holmes stories. This is one of them that you can get at Barnes & Noble for 20 bucks. I work at Barnes & Noble. I got it cheaper than that. Anyway, it's leather bound. It's got the complete stories. I recommend anybody who's maybe seen this movie or seen Sherlock Holmes movies before, I recommend you read the stories. It's just, they're great stories, and yeah, I mean, he really actually helped popularize pipes. Sherlock Holmes never smoked a calabash in the stories. Never did. The reason why calabash started getting associated with Sherlock Holmes is when they started doing the plays in the 1910s and 1920s in these cavernous gaslit theaters, they would make sure people knew that Holmes was smoking a pipe. That's the calabash. And they started using them as props in movies, and well, it just went from there. But he never smoked these. He actually usually smoked sometimes clay pipes, small pipes. Actually, quite often smoked a church warden. And we also know he smoked cigars and cigarettes and a little bit of drug use. Actually, Holmes was a big, he was an expert on tobacco ashes, which shows up in the stories. Also, he never ever said elementary, my dear Watson, once in the stories. That just happened from, you know, the play adaptations and the movies. They actually never said that line at all in the stories. So anyway, I urge you to read stories. They're great stories. And that's pretty much all I want to say about Sherlock Holmes now. So we'll end the effect now. Okay. So, like I said, I'm going to be smoking the Black Shag. And the mystery pipe is a pipe that I got from the Thompson Cigar Company through a catalog. Thompson Cigar Company, because kids, before there was the internet, you actually had to order things through catalogs and wait through them through the mail. There was, yeah, that's what you had to do. And what I love about this pipe is that it's obviously like olive wood. It's a very light pipe, but I don't know if you can see it, but I mean, it's not all one piece. Obviously, you can take it apart, but it was made with the same material, and it has a really cool black stripe on there. Anyway, I thought the shape fitted a talk about Sherlock Holmes, so I'm gonna fire this baby up, and I don't have any matches right now, so lighter it is. The first thing that I really get about this tobacco, it's dry. There's really no wetness to it. All right, first light, then tap, then really light. I know the drill. Definitely some really dark Virginias in it. You get a kind of a citrusy flavor. It's a little bit similar to Bombay Court, McClelland's Bombay Court, which I've reviewed before in one of my videos. Little spicy, almost a cinnamon flavor. For those of you used to smoking aromatics, this may be a little much for you at first, but it's not too strong. Even a peppery taste to it. Holmes would have liked this. Holmes loved strong tobaccos, and this is definitely a real treat. And again, it goes well with libations of all kinds. So if anybody has any idea who could have possibly made this pipe, a good friend of mine who's really expert on pipes thinks it was Italian made. Give me a shout. I've never seen this pipe before. By the way, McClelland's has made other blends. I think one's called Arcadia, and there's I think a early morning or AM pipe also in the Holmes series. Neither of them I've tried. So here's to Sherlock Holmes. Here's to the renewed interest in Sherlock Holmes. Here's to people reading the stories. And oh, go on YouTube. You can look for Jeremy Brett, B-R-E-T-T. You'll see some of his clips. He's fantastic as Holmes. And this is sweet tobacco. I highly recommend it. Again, it is McClelland's 221 Baker Street Series Black Shag. I highly recommend it. So may your pipes always be full, and enjoy. Thanks.